All right, it's 4 p.m. on October 15th. We'll call the Middleton Tourism Commission meeting to order. The first item on the agenda, as usual, is the approval and or discussion of the minutes from the September 17th meeting. Everybody get a chance to review them. Are there any items for discussion, clarification? Would you like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Okay, I'm gonna say Todd
I think
and
Todd
Kevin
beat you.
seconded.
Kevin
How's
second.
that?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, minutes are approved. Hotel updates is next on the agenda. Do you want
Oh,
to
do we want to pull up the agenda or are you guys okay?
I've got it in front of me.
I'm good.
Oh, you know, we probably don't need the agenda just for this part, but we'll pull it up for the grant though. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay, in the recording, we'll still be able to see everybody. All right.
All right, hotel updates it is. Do you want to kick us off?
Generally speaking, I think it's been sort of a disappointing end of second quarter or end of third quarter. Football this year has not been helpful, at least not for my three. It's really been disappointing. So I don't know. I mean, September finished down, I think, to last year. And October most likely will. I mean, October is a stronger revenue month for us anyway, but it's not going to achieve last year's numbers, I don't believe. I mean, if it does, something's got to change in the next 2 weeks. So, and it seems like the big part is football weekends. You know, when they move the games to 11 a.m., we end up with cancellations. Now, part of that, I think, is we could have been more proactive in minimum night stays.
Sure.
In some cases, where historically we didn't have to be. And I think we've learned our lesson on a couple instances, but and business transient is still just not that terribly strong. It's sort of lagged, I think, all year long. But that's kind of where I'm at. We're in the middle of budgets, and it's just a lot of anxiety in dealing with ownerships and stuff, because it's really tough to anticipate being able to grow next year as much at all, let alone at the levels they want us to grow.
Yeah.
And it's in rate. Rate is what's, for example, this last weekend a year ago was the Iowa Hawkeye football game here. Traveled in well. We still ran nearly 100% occupancies on Friday, Saturday, but our rate was $60 less and more. You know, without that back pressure, you can't drive rate, and that's where owners want. So that's been the big challenge, I think, this year is being able to drive rate, not having that back pressure demand we've seen historically with, I mean, pre-pandemic, especially with Epic, that's all gone, not coming back. Group has improved some, I think, this year over prior years, but that's not necessarily saving the day.
Yeah.
We'd like to have the BT transient back.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I can pretty much echo what you said there, Todd. It's you know, Q3, especially the end of it, but truly for us, I mean, July, August, September, we missed our rooms budget each month. So October, actually this month, we're projecting to exceed budget for the first time in 3 months. Not by much, by the skin of our teeth there, but we're projecting to do it. But I agree, it's the football games have been tough. The lack of the base on the books with the business transient demand is really tough. For us competing with GF on the weekends for the leisure travelers that are spending their own dime is tough as well. So we really, unless we've got a large convention in house on the weekends are just brutal for us. And I think it's a number of things. I think it's the extra inventory downtown that's opened up that we've talked about a few times. I think that's occurring. definitely the game times are hurting us. I think our revenue manager might have played a little bit more games than what she should have with some of those weekends too. And I think we learned our lessons from that this year, and we'll change strategy going into next year. But you know, Q4 though for us is shaping up to look pretty decent in comparison. But you know, as you mentioned, you know, budget season and they're looking for growth, and they're looking for growth for us in both occupancy and rate.
Yep.
And that's it's tough to grow both of those in the same year. You know, you can do one or the other, but both of those usually don't come hand in hand. So, yeah, it is creating a lot of anxiety, to say the least. Yeah, not glowing reports, obviously, but like you said too, when you're in the middle of budget season, we're looking forward into next year with the crystal ball and looking back the last 9 months of the year and how we performed. It's kind of hard to see how we're going to get there.
Well, and it was this year, the first 5 months or so, it seemed like things were looking pretty good
Yeah,
and growing. And I think the last couple months now have netted out a negative
Yeah.
so far year over year. So
Yep.
nothing like going into the net negative going into budget season.
Exactly. Yep. You know, and coincidentally, probably not coincidentally, but that's right around the time when things started changing for us over here on the far west side is right after the embassy opened, you know, right after, you know, the Moxie really got off the ground running down there and a few other properties. And now we know there's a Spring Hill Suites that's going into Fitchburg as well that'll open next year. So, you know, it's only 100 more rooms, but we're Marriott heavy over on the west side over here. So bringing another Marriott brand in is not a great thing.
And they just opened the Fairfield.
Yep, the Fairfield by the Sheraton, and the Sheraton's becoming a full service Marriott as well.
Yep.
So our ownership and management company, you know, is kind of the mind, well, who cares? You know, a Sheraton is a Marriott, it's owned by Marriott. And it's like, well, when's the last time that you worked about, you know, in the field and whatnot? You know, if you have a choice to stay at a Sheraton or a full service Marriott, you're going to stay at a Marriott. Sheraton doesn't have the brand loyalty or recognition in the States like it does over in like the European countries. You know, it's much more popular over there as a brand. And obviously, no ownership group is going to spend the exorbitant amount of money to rebrand if they didn't see some sort of a payback on the horizon. So they're seeing a benefit from the change. And honestly, our ownership group, because we are the only full service Marriott branded hotel in town, we had the ability to object, and they chose not to. So that really kind of irks me a little bit. And not only did they choose not to, but they didn't ask for our input on it. So when I brought it to their attention, I thought I was dropping a bomb in their lap saying, look at what's about to happen. Oh yeah, we knew about that, you know, 5 months ago, and we didn't see a problem with it, so we didn't object. They're 11 miles away. You know, they pull from a different part of Madison, and I just, you know, it's that's not how it all works. So yeah, it's
Well, the OTAs market seems to have gotten extremely competitive.
Yep.
And it seems like a race to the bottom.
Yep.
You know, I know in the Middleton market, the Country Inn and Suites next to my courtyard runs the market on OTAs.
Oh yeah.
But at 59,
As I say, $60 a night.
you can't make money at that rate.
You
You
can't.
can't. That's what's been frustrating.
Yeah.
But
We actually just signed up. We haven't participated with AAA in I can't tell you how many years, but we signed up for AAA Hot Deals just to get some visibility out there. And the Hot Deals, what it does is it puts you up on the list. So instead of us just becoming a AAA member hotel or an accredited AAA member hotel, you know, us being the 56th property out of 60 that shows up, now we're in the top 5 or 6. And what we found when we signed up for that, Todd, was that properties downtown are targeting our properties over here on the west side, which is peculiar to me. But I mean, I think that speaks volumes as to how much everybody is in need of transient business. You know, whether it be business or leisure, everybody needs it. If they're targeting us on the west side, that tells us a big story, I think. So yeah, it's a fight out there for occupancy right now.
Well, that's an uplifting.
I know. sorry to rain on everybody's parade, but
welcome to my budget meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's been a depressing month and a half, but
When I went into our budget meeting, you know, we had, because mine started in June.
Yep.
So when I went into it, everybody's looking at, we had a very strangely high Q1.
Mhm.
And so they're just like, oh, this is going to be another 2023. We're going to break a record.
Yeah.
And I had communicated that I wasn't very sure about that happening at all, and people being worried about the football schedule. And it's ended up a little bit, I was hoping we'd be at least a little bit higher than where we are right now.
Mhm.
I'm not horribly surprised, but it is definitely, from our marketing perspective, we just had our very first strategic meeting today, by the way. And leisure, of course, we're going to continue our leisure drive. We're going to continue our group travel drive. But we did ask the marketing agency to assist us in coming up with, like, just look at us from a bird's eye view, fresh eyes. Like, how can we pull something like another TeslaCon here? Like,
Yeah.
where can we go to find different groups, conventions and conferences of different sizes? But also, like, even just like weddings, things like that. Like, there's some ways for us to target that demographic without alienating the leisure market that we have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars growing.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be one of the things that we're looking at, and refreshing a bunch of those materials. Maggie being on board now is phenomenal. She is just like taking things on her own. I'm actually starting to be freed up now to do some more director things.
Good.
So my number one goal a year and a half ago was to really like start targeting marketing for meeting planners, updating a lot of our materials. And what we did, because all we had time for was sort of a refresh, but we're going to actually go in and dive into that more. But some of that also is when you have a piece of business coming to town, like when you were contacting me about that one.
Yeah.
Letting me know. They still haven't signed it, by the way.
No,
But I'll call Christopher if I have to.
I received the agreement today. so-
Okay. I figured they were assuming. But you can, and a couple of the salespeople in town have been great about getting a hold of us and being like, what could you do to offer or pre-approve something for this group, so that we can get them to sign on. And if it's something that's beyond what I'm allowed to pre-approve, like, we'll call a Zoom meeting and we'll get something worked out. And things like when we were talking about football next year, like if we're going to continue doing like hosting teams, like, are we going to look at some sort of a travel bonus option for people staying at Middleton hotels? Like, how can we make it so it's like, well, of course we're going to stay in a Middleton hotel. We've got free travel to and from the game or something,
Mhm.
Like, what can we work on? Because we have the grant dollars that are set aside.
Yes.
And yes, the grants are supposed to be for these incoming business, but we can set it aside and do something like a Badger game, bus, a Saturday Badger
Yeah.
bus, whatever, tour, whatever we're gonna call it, and use that grant money for that too. And we're getting close to being paid up on our CXC thing, and we can start reallocating some of those dollars. So, like, the conversation when you guys are out of the budget season,
Mhm.
we'll sit down and start talking about how are we going to attack certain things next year right away. Because we obviously know, like, that you guys are feeling it, and our entire mission is to bring people here so that the city of Middleton can benefit, because people will shop and eat and get gas. And so that we can continue to market the city. But how can we do that if we don't have money? And so we know that we need to help. And so we're going to probably be reaching out. And this will be in addition to, kind of separate from the 3-year strategic plan that we'll be doing too, which will include like a how do we attack meetings. But I want to sit down with not just you two, but get some other GMs involved too, and just find out where they're hurting the most. Because, I mean, well, in the game thing, someone told me just today, I think it was Danielle, who said that she thinks that the games were pushed up because that's the TV scheduling.
It is-
So
yeah,
maybe
well,
it's
yeah.
like we got to start lobbying the networks to think about how it might be affecting a community when you're moving a game.
Yeah.
I have no idea how that's even done, or if it's something that can be done.
Take on the NCAA. Yeah.
Well, well, different networks have the rights to different different sports. Like not all of them even have the rights to UW football, and some of them have football, but not the others. And so going in and just trying to figure out how are those decisions even being made, and just even just asking the question might not hurt.
Mhm.
Nobody in that room is probably thinking about this at all. Like, oh yeah, if you push games up, people don't stick around in the towns as often, and towns don't benefit economically as much as they normally would. So I don't know. There are things out there that we could start asking around
Absolutely.
and approaching. So I'll lead right into the director's update here. I don't have the STAR report yet, but just the budget process. I have now, I've been part of 2 finance committee, and we haven't had any questions delivered to us, and nobody has said anything to me. So from what I can understand, there's no reason to assume we aren't going to have our full budget approved. That officially doesn't get decided till November.
Yeah, it's November.
But I mean, in years past, I've received emails saying we have questions about this and this and this. I haven't received anything. Nobody, it's been crickets. So I feel, well, and also we haven't done like huge changes to the budget. So I don't see a reason why I wouldn't. The other thing I wanted to ask quickly about is the MTC meeting dates. November 19th, Jose and Kate cannot make that meeting. So, and right now that's fine because we still have quorum as long as everybody else makes it. But if we end up having a last minute grant request for the end of the year, we would not be able to make quorum because Jim or Todd, somebody probably wouldn't be able to be a part of that. So if there's a chance that there's another date in November that works for you guys, I can send out a doodle poll. I don't know how you want me to do this. But the 19th is that week right before Thanksgiving. And so if you guys would rather push it up, when is our fall conference? Is that the 14th?
14th and the 15th. Yeah.
Well, we could do it the 12th.
I could do the 12.
I could send out an email just asking everybody if that's okay, so that you have actual time to like check your calendars. But if you're okay with pushing it up a whole week, I can't think of any other grants that might come this time of year because the Track Coaches Association is usually the late comer, but we're voting tonight. So maybe it won't be a problem. It's just, that's the first thing I thought was that if we had a grant, we wouldn't have quorum.
Yeah.
Now, the 12th, well, I've got a business social hour at 4 o'clock that's sponsored by the chamber.
Oh, then Kate wouldn't be able to come to that one either.
Yeah, if she's going to the social hour, she wouldn't be able
that
to.
probably won't work.
What about, are Mondays terrible? Monday the 18th?
Monday's usually fine for me.
Mondays, ironically enough, is usually my best day. I don't have nearly as much on my
Yeah.
calendar.
I can't see Jose, like, can you change your
sorry,
view
yeah.
so that we can see both people? Okay. Jose, Kevin, do you guys have a preference? Like, would Monday, November 18th work for you at 4 o'clock?
November is very hard for me to step out of the diner at all.
Guys,
I can't do the 18th. No.
Oh, okay, not that one. How about I send out a doodle poll? So we aren't.
Yeah, there
okay.
you go.
I'll send out a doodle poll. If we have to, maybe we make it a Zoom meeting. Like we just to make it as quick as possible for everybody. And again, hopefully, like unless we would have quorum as long as it's not a grant request. Okay, so I will send out a doodle poll for that. Next up is do you just want me to share my screen, Laura?
I have the agenda up. If
Okay.
You want me to.
You need to share it onto the screen then, not just pull it up.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So, Wisconsin Track Coaches Association, since this is at the Marriott, I'll present it. The Wisconsin Track Coaches Association seeks a destination partnership grant for its 36th clinic. I don't know if all 36 have been at the Marriott, but I think there's been probably 12
Yeah, I think that might be accurate.
The event is set for February 6th through 8th. In 2024, they had 370 overnight stays. They're hoping for 420 this year. At least that's what they said their room block is for.
Yeah.
They anticipate about 1,000 attendees, which I would actually believe that they get 1,000 people in there because they have a vendor show and all these other things. They're seeking a $5,000 grant, which is pretty much what we have given every year. I was looking back in the files. There were some years I think we only gave 3,000, but I'm not sure what the decision on that was for. This goes towards sponsoring the Women for Women Clinic, the Hall of Fame dinner, and we also provide a fundraising raffle basket thing. Yes. So does anyone have any questions?
Well, anything for February is good.
Yeah, and they usually have some off time too, so you'll see them around
They're
getting
out
lunch in
pretty often,
Greenway.
yeah.
Yeah. They're also a very nice group. Like, they're very respectful. We always do a information table for them. They get very excited about our giveaways. Because these are, track coaches. They're like, they're high school teachers and are they college as well or just high school?
There's both.
And they're
Yeah.
both.
Mhm.
I think it is.
But yeah, they love their free Post-its and pens and stuff. So, that's the Destination Madison one. Yep. So if nobody has any questions, then we can call for a vote. All in favor of granting the Wisconsin Track Coaches Association a $5,000 destination partnership grant for their clinic this February, please say aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Someone needed to make a motion to pass it, didn't they? Did I miss that step? Sorry, can we back up a smidge? Can someone make a motion to grant this grant? Basically
make a
what I had
motion.
just said. Okay, Jose, anybody second?
I'll second.
All right, now, sorry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. You will never lose your job as chairman. All right. Okay, so the next thing up, as you guys know, because we were discussing this before, our contract with Destination Madison is up December 31st, 2024. We have been discussing new terms with them, but we kind of hit a sort of a plateau. So in order for this to be able to pass before the end of the year, because they were worried that any major changes wouldn't be able to get through all of their boards and committees for approval in time, we're doing a 1-year extension. And we did submit a letter that both Kevin and Jim signed, just stating how we're glad to be re-entering this contract, but we also have some things that we're hoping for in the next contract, and it was everything that we had discussed. And so all I need tonight is that we accept this version. And right now, Destination Madison has read it and said that they're okay with it. Brian Gatto, who will be signing it, I think one of the people signing it, has approved it. If we approve it, it goes to the city attorney. They approve it, then we have to run it through finance and common council next month before the end of the year. So does anybody have any questions or comments about the agreement or the contract, the amendment A or the agreement?
Nope,
Nope.
I don't.
Okay, there were some changes to it, which is the reason why it's going through the attorney. I changed some language, some dates. There was also a paragraph that I practically deleted half of it because it was referencing stuff that doesn't exist anymore. So if there is no discussion, can I get a motion to accept this agreement and amendment A for a 1-year extension with Destination Madison?
I do have a question, Mary, before we move forward.
All right.
So you mentioned that this discussion started in the spring of this year, and that wasn't time enough to get in front of the board and get approved before the end of the contract this December. Are you expecting that to go in front of the board anytime at the beginning of the year, or are we gonna go through a full year contract and then have to renew for another year because they didn't get
So
approved?
that's a good, that is a very good question. So to back it up, we did begin our first, I think Maureen reached out in April, but we had our very first meeting. It was May or June. And we've had multiple calls, we've had in-person meetings, I don't know how many emails. Quite honestly, I met with the CEO and Maureen, the VP of partnership in August, made it seem like everything we talked about was going to be accepted and we could move on. And several weeks later, they contacted me and said that they didn't think they'd be able to push anything new through their committees. We were literally left with no options. I of course have some opinions about that, but that does not matter right now. We have to have an agreement with DM in order to go forward. But the letter that we submitted, which Jim and Kevin signed, stated that a new agreement had to be complete and put forward in front of the commission in May. So we're going to have to get started right away in January and get this figured out, because I want an agreement that's ready for you to vote on in May, because both of us have to figure out our budget season based on what's going forward. And the letter also said that we wanted a tiered membership, a transparent tiered membership description, like what are you getting at these levels, and an alternative to the 17% flat fee. I would much rather approach this like any other membership where I just pay you X number of dollars a year and this is what I get, rather than 17% of our profit share and what do we get? And so, and they've actually emailed me today and said that they agreed with those terms. So we'll have something in May, and if we don't, then we have some other options to explore, which we can talk about at another time.
Do you think that when we get that in May, will that be a contract that starts right away, or regardless, it will start on 2026?
If we wanted to start that summer, I don't know how the language would work with that, because, or how I don't know. I don't think we could, because their budget is based on receiving 17% of our profit share. And so if they're going to change this, which I'm assuming it's going to change how much we're paying in, I don't think that they'd be able to budget for that. I think no matter what, we have this current contract for 2025.
Okay, thank you.
And so, yeah, and then the next one would begin in 2026. And if we're happy with the terms, ideally, it would be a 2 to 3 year contract, so that we aren't going through all these motions so often.
Is there a timeline on this? It says in the first page, it says this agreement is effective as of the first day of January 2025.
Yeah, if you scroll down, it does say that the last day is December 31st.
It's a calendar year. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's critical, because you and I have talked about some of these issues too, and so
Right
we don't
there.
want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't want to.
Through and including the 31st day of December 2025.
So, and we haven't done a 1 year agreement with them before, and we really are looking at this as more of an extension.
Yeah.
And they understand our frustration. We have made it very, very clear. And the city administrator has been aware of the whole process as well. Right now, this is the piece of business that we have to approach. But and anybody who wants to can give me a call, and I'm happy to go into a little bit more detail as well. But we will definitely be restarting our meetings right away in January. And they'll be coming here in January to give their annual report as well. You are welcome to ask them anything you want. I'm just here to moderate. So, with that, could we please get a motion to approve the presented agreement between Destination Madison and the City of Middleton, Visit Middleton, for a 1-year extension from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Jose,
Second.
any more? Okay, any more discussion?
Nope.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes. All right, thank you guys so much for this. I will be keeping you updated on anything else that changes or anything as far as we're going. This partnership with Destination Madison is also part of our 3-year strategic plan as we go through and do a more thorough audit of all of our partnerships. You know, we pay membership fees to US Travel, to Destinations International, Destinations Wisconsin. Like, are we putting our money in the right places is what we're really going to look at a lot next year. But also, is the partnership still what it's supposed to be? Because when it began all those years ago, almost 30 years ago, you know, we were very small, and how much we were giving was small, and our expectations were small. But the city has ballooned. We have 9 hotels. We have the largest convention hotel. Like, we aren't the same animal. And I've said this before. So I think everybody realizes that it's time to take a look at how all of this works. And what the current DM has changed a lot. So the current DM, what do they want to offer? Because we've always really leaned on them for sales. Maybe that isn't something they even really want to offer partners. Maybe they're really looking at a marketing partner. We need to look at that and what works best with both entities as well, and move forward, and then figure out how are we going to respond, and how does our staff respond to that. So more to come. So the only thing left that I have on the agenda is that we still need to set the holiday gathering date, which is completely my fault. I totally forgot to reach out to Kevin. So I'll reach out to Kevin about the holiday date, and then I'll send you guys an email. We'll probably, I think last year he gave me 2 options and we're just picking which one. Are you guys hoping to do another afternoon, or are you hoping for an evening? Do you like meeting at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon and being done by 6? Do you want to open this up to significant others? I know sometimes it's hard to get off of work in the middle of the day, but they're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll send out an email with some dates to choose from after I get a hold of Kevin. I've actually even like said something to him before. He's just waiting on me. Like, I just forgot. That's all I have, guys. Before you leave,
Yes.
there's the sign. Laura, you know, and she's leading this whole project for the front office. So that's one of the signs that she has done.
This is a rendering of a potential sign, which would be out in the front lobby, essentially right in front of my desk.
Very cool.
Alpha Graphics put this together. I can send it in an email. No way it's gonna, I mean, yeah, no.
You're like a kid trying to show her art project.
Yeah, great, you see it? It's a blank wall right now behind me, and so this would be kind of made out of something that looks like it's not wood, but it's like some foam HDU something or other. But I actually went out and looked at some signs that Alpha Graphics has done before that would look similar to this, and I was pretty impressed. So
It'll look very cool. And some people come in and they take pictures of the ticket booth. So this way, when they step back and they get a photo, it's going to say Visit Middleton in the back. We also, Laura pointed out, you know, we went through this whole rebrand and we didn't put a single thing in the visitor center other than our materials.
other than our visitor guide, yeah.
And so having the sign will.
And we're hoping that it would just tie to, so many people wander in and yes, we have a visitor center sign out front, but they're just like, am I in the chamber office? Am I in city hall? Am I like where they don't even get it? And so just having that hopefully would help.
We get people who are like, is this the Mustard Museum? Because their GPS brought them to us.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
All right, that's all I have. So do you want to close out the meeting, Jim?
Sure. Anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
A second?
I'll second.
Jose seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 Woohoo.
Have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you. See you later.
Thank
Yeah.
you. That is one of our quickest meetings, guys.
It was.